Hi, everyone. First, super humbled to have Ben here with us at Coinfest. I think he needs no introduction. So Ben, welcome to Bali. Welcome to Coinfest. I know you go to a lot of these events, so what's your first impression and what do you like most about Coinfest so far?
I like the vibe. It's obviously I'm the only person dressed, fitted to this environment. I realized. I realized when I just got here. So no, I think the vibe is amazing. Looking forward to the after parties. So it's very much crypto feel here. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I actually wanted to kick off the chat and talk about conviction. So after the hack, the live stream, the PR afterwards, it was such a critical make or break moment for you guys. What conviction did you have at such a critical moment that your actions would make rather than break Bybit?
Yeah, so obviously it was a moment that you realize if you fuck up, then probably the rest of my life will be fucked up. Every single decision matters, but then you ask yourself, all the actions why you do certain things is to make sure that people would, basically we wouldn't let anyone down. I think that was kind of the main conviction. We don't want to let our clients down. And we realize if we fuck up, then we potentially could tank the whole industry. And there could be a lot more victim than just us suffering a hack. If you look at previous exchange hack of this magnitude, they all infect the industry. I think, so what we did was making sure we don't want to disappoint anyone. And we use full transparency to deal with situations like that. And I think that's the only way to handle it, is to deal with transparency. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's extremely commendable. I think you regained trust far faster than anyone probably thought could have happened. So yeah, I think the conviction that you showed was really set the industry standard for years to come, and hopefully not, but for other fuck-ups that might happen in the future.
Yeah.
But aside from Bybit, like conviction also at a personal level, I wanted to ask you, if you take a step back from Bybit and I guess look at the wider industry, where does your conviction take you for the next 5 and 10 years?
So a lot of people ask, what does crypto do to me? And obviously, I travel around the world, talk to regulators, and they say, is what you do a competitor to the banks? And I say, look, we're not competition to banks. Most likely, players like Revolut, who is or neobanking, these guys are a competition to revolutionize banks. Crypto is a revolutionize to money, and that's something even bigger. So to me, I think what we are working towards is making sure that the exchange as a focal point, we are the place where we present opportunities. And that's essentially why people come into crypto. People don't come into crypto because it's a easy-use product. They don't come to crypto because the word they find it interesting and they just wake up one day and want to figure it out. They come here because there's opportunity. Whether it's opportunity to make money or to kind of escape your current fiat issues if you're in a country that has inflations and things like that, or you have asset issues that you want to stablecoin and all that. So we want to make sure that we're a place that can present the opportunities. So as an exchange, we need to make sure we don't miss any opportunities, and so that we can present the opportunity to our client. And that's kind of is the driving force for the team, is that we need to be on the very frontier of learning what's happening. When meme coin is happening, we need to be the first one because our user needs to get to that opportunity. We need to make sure we tap into that. And there are a lot of trials and errors. So a lot of times we waste our time. For example, this thing doesn't work out. The latest, I don't know, RWA didn't work out. Or recently, I think it's, I guess now it's about stock and tokenized stock and or tokenized token into stock. So it's either way. So it's basically opportunities to us. Yeah.
But flowing on from that, like, what's one trend that you think will still persist in 5 years from now? The trends that, like, for example, meme coins, RWA.
Well, so these are all the trigger of a certain opportunity, as far as I see, that attracts people comes into the industry. Down the road, I think we're going to be for sure mass adopted, meaning that you will go around the world. Europe now have MiCA license. Indonesia, you have a crypto license, very early stage. So the speed of people adopting crypto and moving into the industry is it's a very fast pace. So I think 5 years down the road, for sure, more institution, more retail is going to be adopted. But through which trigger is one at a time. Yeah.
I want to maybe step back and not talk about trends, but maybe from a Bybit perspective, like with everything that you've gone through, there's a lot of highs and obviously the fuck ups as well. From when you started Bybit and then going through this journey, has your values changed? And has the ethos or the mission of the company evolved with the ever-changing regulatory landscape globally?
Yeah, it changes quite dramatically, actually. Maybe you expect people to say it never changed, sticks to it. No. When I first started so Bybit launched in 2017. And by the way, I do trainings for my staff every month. So all the new staff join Bybit, I do the training. At least one part of the training is the culture training. And I was used to joke with my staff. For the first 2 years, I have to convince everyone that we're not a pyramid scheme. And Bitcoin is not a pyramid scheme, right? So when you start, Bybit started as a derivative exchange. We were trying to fix a derivative problem. Because at the time, derivatives was not, literally, whenever price moves, all the exchange goes down. And there was overload issue, there was all these things. So the mission initially was to kind of fix that problem, right? And then along the way, I think it was 2021, we all of a sudden been labeled as Web3. That's this new word that everyone's like, well, we're the future of internet. We're now the Web3. It seems like the industry is going to be a lot bigger than we initially thought. So when we initially thought was, okay, this Bitcoin is interesting. Let's fix the derivative problem. And now I think it's even bigger because we would never imagined back then all the countries would be regulating this thing, right? When we started, there was no regulation. So EU is fully regulated. The US is extremely embracive. Trump, the president of the United States issued a meme coin. That's something you would never imagine, right? So as things adapt and you realize you are in the industry, you're so lucky, and so there's so much more you can do. So I feel like there's more and more things you want to do, more and more impact you want to do. I think it goes with the industry, to answer your question. Yeah.
So maybe flowing down from that then, during your time at Bybit, what's the best decision you think you've ever made as the CEO?
So I think there was many decisions. I think one of the milestone decisions changed the exchange was when we decided to not only do a derivative exchange. We want to actually expand into more. And we realized there's going to be, the reason it was simply because out of 10 crypto people that come into the industry, maybe one is derivative trader. All the rest, they come in for different reasons. And we realized that with our product capabilities, we can serve a lot more users. So we decided to expand our horizon. So that's one critical moment. And I think the second critical moment is the decision that when regulations start to come, we are complying. I think all the exchange face a road, a very significant road, whether you want to be profit maximizing by not following regulations, non-KYC, this type of road, or you go with a long-term play where you get licensed. So by the way, we're here working with our local partner, Nobi, to be licensed here in Indonesia as well. So I think it's a difficult decision there, and I think we made the right decision, yeah.
Maybe the flip side of the question, what's one big regret that or decision you regret making as CEO?
Oh, there are a lot of decisions I made that I regret. I wish I paid a lot more attention on security. I think that's one thing you all probably know yeah. And on top of that, I think there's also different product timings where we want to probably focus. There was many, for example, the last DeFi summer run, bull run, we were not focused on that. We were quite late. And even today, we are a bit late on the Web3 initiatives, on the wallet things, where other exchanges are pretty active pursuing. So I think there's areas that we can definitely improve. Yeah.
I might shift a little bit and go to some rapid fire questions. And if we have time, I might have 2 or 3 questions if you guys wanted to ask. So maybe we'll just do a quick rapid fire, just like, gut answer. Where will the next billion users in crypto come from? Trading, payments, or gaming?
Payments.
Would Bybit ever launch your own blockchain?
Well, we support an incubator Mantle, which is a layer 2. So, yeah.
What's the biggest untapped crypto market? Is it Indonesia?
Indonesia is very adopted crypto. It's not untapped. Untapped. I think probably Africa. There's a lot of new untapped users there. Yeah.
When will Bitcoin flip gold in market cap?
When will that? I hope later than sooner, because you can still buy it then. By then, none of us will be regretting, right? All of us.
I might let the audience actually ask some questions. This is a little bit unscripted, but maybe 1 or 2 questions from the audience before I ask some final questions towards Ben. Does anyone want to ask Ben some questions?
You able to hear me? Yeah, perfect. Ben, so I live in Dubai, but I'm from India. The Indian government has taken a very cautious stance on crypto. Have you had a chat with any of the regulators there, and do you think there's a big potential? He mentioned untapped markets. I think India is a very big untapped market. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so let me describe the India regulatory framework first. So we are actually registered in India recently. Well, first of all, there is capital control in India. So the issue is how do you control the flow of USDT and the Indian currency? And I think that's a huge challenge for the local regulator. And also, I think the regulator there looks into the industry more from a taxation perspective. So more or less, they require the exchange to work with them to pre-collect the tax, which is actually, I think it's one of the first in the world to ask the exchange to pre-collect tax other than let the users pay the tax themselves. But I agree, India is a huge potential market. A lot of people don't know India is actually very sophisticated. They're actually one of the countries use our option market the most. So a lot of option trader in India, very sophisticated. But you also have huge communities that are really into airdrops, launchpad, these type of things. So I do see India as a huge potential. But again, you're not late. You're very early also in the framework. You still have like places like, big markets that are not regulating crypto yet. So I think a lot of opportunity there for sure. Yeah.
Question maybe up front.
What do you think about the DeFi sector, let's say, next 5 years?
What do I think of what?
DeFi sector. DeFi,
DeFi?
decentralized idea.
Yeah, what do I think? Well, it is getting a lot more mature than the first wave of DeFi thing where everyone gets crazy, right? Well, I think there's definitely probably more interchain incorporabilities needs to be played. But recently we've seen a lot more liquidity happening in the DeFi space. And interesting enough, a lot of the regulators are more encouraging on DeFi activities than centralized exchange do borrow and lending. For example, even in Indonesia, the regulator encouraged you to do on-chain staking rather than a SEX financial product. So a lot of these protocols are now approved and being used, and I think it will be widely adopted. But again, the issue is how do clients start using them is still a bit confusing. So I think the centralized exchange play a huge part. But you can see the centralization are wrapping the DeFi complexity and making it easier and show kind of an APY to the client and through the wallet. I think that's making life easier to a lot of people. Yeah.
One last question from the back. The gentleman in the white.
Hello, I'm from India. Do you think centralized exchanges will integrate RWAs and DeFi protocols, or these will be stay in separate worlds?
No, it will for sure happen. And actually, it's the area that all the exchange are exploring quite heavily. Because RWA is the gateway to get TradFi big firms into the exchange, into the ecosystem. One of the challenges, let's say we talk to Citadel, BlackRock, and these guys, they have money market fund where they want to make it liquid to trade. So they would issue RWA and they would talk to the exchange. However, you need a kind of a full circle of product in order to let that RWA work. Typically, you need off-exchange custody. So we would go to Copper, Fireblocks, and these guys to say, okay, can you work with BlackRock and recognize this token? And then with off-exchange solutions, they have to have a margin calculation system with the exchange to recognize that token to be able to trade, right? And then the last part is if the token is being traded and lost to the counterparty, how does the counterparty redeem that asset and how long it's going to take? And does the exchange need to play a part as a bridge loan to make sure everyone's happy? So there's a certain risk towards it, but it will definitely happen because to us, it means huge number of assets. We're talking about billions of dollars that if that works. And I know that all the exchanges are exploring this. So currently, I think the direction is with these type of fund TradFi firms. So not so much towards RWA houses, properties, these type of things. That I haven't seen any use case, but it might happen. I don't know. Yeah.
Before we close off, I might end it with two more personal, I guess, questions. If Bybit disappeared tomorrow, what would you do?
Probably start again.
And my last question for you, Ben. What does retirement look like for Ben Zhou?
What? Sorry.
What does retirement look like?
Okay, so I get the question a lot. When do you retire? When do you gonna, enjoy your time free? For some reason, most people assume that you would enjoy retirement. I don't think I would enjoy retirement. I think before I got on stage, you asked me a question like, how do I measure life, right? I said it's the time that I'm focused, and I feel like, especially when I don't have work, when I don't have things, I'm not focused. I don't enjoy the time as much. So I feel like retirement to me means my energy level, my hormone level is so low that I cannot focus, that I can only relax. So I think as long as I still can focus, I will try to do certain things.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ben Zhou.
Thank you,
Ben.
Big round of applause, guys. Thank you so much.